near me. So if they live in Blackshear and they're looking for storage, they want you want to make sure that you're coming up, in the area. You're coming up on Google, right? So here's us right here, Miss Lillian Self Storage. We've got 27 4.7 star reviews, right? And then you can kind of look and see what other storage facilities are around and stuff like this. Okay. But this is this is what you want to do, because when people look for storage, they're just looking at storage near me, and then they're going to just pick one of these facilities and call around, and whichever price they can afford, they're going to just move to is what they're going to move into. Okay. But ultimately I wanted to show you our website as well too. And I'll kind of dig a little bit more deeper here in just a second, and then also, so this is what the facility looks like. This is what the facility looked like when we bought the facility, right? We took this over, got the parking, and then we've got like 2 rows of units. And then we painted the facility, right? Because it looked kind of old. So we just went in there and we painted it. So you see, this is what it looks like now. And just so you know, it took, my husband paints all of our facilities, and it took about $1,000 to paint this facility, and it took him about 2 days of work. Okay. Because we have gotten quotes for facilities getting painted, and it costs upwards of $10,000, and stuff. It's super expensive. So my husband's like, no, I'll just do it. We took a picture, because you take a picture of this, because this is what would be on the Google, on our Google page. So let's see if I go to, it's here. Let's see if I can come. Yeah, so here's our Google, right? So this is ours. So you can see here 27 5-star reviews. And, we fill this out. We've got our product. This is the other thing is look at what we do, because we really kind of utilize everything that an owner should be doing in order to, to run their facility properly and to manage it properly, so that people will want to kind of put their stuff in the units, right? So they really want to see how many reviews do you have, and what kind of reviews do you have, and they want to see what your products are, right? So you want to make sure that you're showing, we've got these 5x10s, 12 we got parking, and we got 10x10s and 10x20s. And then we've got a whole bunch of reviews here. This is a great and easy company, really good reviews. And then that's it. Really. Oh, then a little synopsis here, right? So fill this out really good if you're an owner. It's if anybody, an owner, listen to me, fill this out really good. And then make sure your website. So let's do this. Let's go here. You can see here, these are all the facilities that under the Miss Lillian's brand. Here's Blackshear. I'm going to click on this page. And so you could see here, this is the page, right? And then you can see this is our, where you can come in and rent the units. And you click here, rent now, if you're interested. And then we do a 95% off your first month rent is what we do. Any kind of promo, you always have to do some sort of a promo, right? Look at your competitors as well and kind of see how they're managing their facilities. And if they're not doing a good job of managing the facility, you know that you can come in and really learn how to manage it to get people to move in, because this is what people are looking at. So we have our facility features here. We've got our reviews here. You can load as many reviews as you want. We've got pictures, right? We're really pushing the parking. So the parking is the very first picture. Okay. And then a whole bunch of really good pictures of the facility to just show, and then, how it works. And, contact free. And then some pictures. This is my daughter, Lillian, right here. Okay. And services, sides guide, self-storage, nearby facts, RV and boat parking. Okay. So ultimately, the reason I'm showing you this website is because people go on to, they just search, storage near me, and they're going to come in through this is what they're going to do. They're either going to, if you're doing an ad, they can maybe just, they could just sign up right then and there, or they can come to your website or call you. And so you want to have this filled out properly, and you want to have a very good, easy website for people to be able to come in and move in. Now, a lot of people will call, but a lot of people move in online. Okay. Just so you know. Okay. And so I wanted to show you too, this is so I'm in the process of trying to sell this facility. This facility is stabilized. This facility is about 80 to 85% full, so we're ready to we've cleaned it up. We've stabilized it. We've got a couple of good years of tax returns. we are ready to sell this property. So what I did is I put together this folder. Now this folder here, just so you know, everything that's in this folder is exactly what you need in order to determine whether or not it's a facility that you want to buy. Okay. I'm going to just go to the live stream real fast and just make sure everybody can see everything. Okay. Yeah, it looks like nobody's complaining. Okay, good. So this folder is exactly what you want to see, like from the people that you're buying from. Okay. And so you can see we have our general ledgers. I'll show you like what these look like as well. And then the occupancy reports, rent roll, unit mix, management summary. And these are all reports that I'm getting from StorageNerds. I'm using StorageNerds as our software. I could actually pull that up and show you too, so you can see what does StorageNerds look like. No, storage, that's what it is right here. Let me get in and try to see if I can figure out how to get into this. There it is. Okay. And then you can just come on and you can see what it looks like here. Hang on. Let's go to Blackshear. Let's kind of show you what it looks like so you have an idea. This is what the software looks like, and this is Blackshear. Typically, I have this open. I was not prepared for this, but okay. All right, so this is it. Now, the reason it's such a low occupancy is because the parking. All right, we added the parking. We're trying to get that leased up. But let's just look at it and see here now. Okay, so this is what the facility looks like. This is what your software looks like. And so you could see here that here's the units, right? And the green is available. And then the blue is taken and the red is late. Okay, now it's the 6th of the month. So typically, like everybody, like I would say 80% pay from the 1st to the 6th. And then we have a late fee that goes on, I think either the 5th or the 6th. And then like people really, like if they're late, they're going to pay before the 20th. The 20th is when our auction process starts. Okay. And then from there, they just get fees and stuff racked on. But ultimately, red is late. You typically get a lot of people late for the first week. And then they slowly pay off, especially right now. People are just struggling with like paying stuff and everything. So, you just have to kind of go with the flow on that. Now, these are the parking spaces right here. You can see like we're trying to really get these leased up for, it's hard out there in a tertiary market to get parking filled up. But like, that's why we push on our website, the parking, so that's kind of how it looks like here. So that's why we're really trying to push that. But ultimately, if you took the parking away, we'd be like 80-85% full. And actually, as you can see on this, this facility right here, you could really build you could build a whole nother building here. I mean, if you just say like, I don't even want to do parking, I'm just going to add some more units. And even down the row right here, this line, you could really add more units. So there is room to expand on this if you wanted to do that. Okay. And we don't expand. Like, we're just not those types of people. We get in, we stabilize, we get it to 80-85% full, and then we'll just move on is what we'll do. Okay. But ultimately, I wanted to show you StorageNerds so you guys have an idea of how that looks. And then this is where you're going to get the management reports, and then you can see the competitors. And Regrid is where you can get your property report card. And it kind of shows you like what the people paid before, what their taxes are, stuff like that. Okay. And then portfolio, that's probably maybe pictures. I don't know what that is. Photos, Google Maps is like the maps, executive summary, demographics, deal analyzer, and then the radius. Now we create what's called an executive summary. Let me see if I can open this up. I wish I could open this up like right within Google, but I don't know how to do that. I don't want to screw this up. So no, but essentially we create an executive summary. If you want to get access to this folder so that you can see all this stuff, then all you need to do is go to americanssmgt.com/for-sale. Okay, right here. This is the website. This is where we've listed all the properties that we're trying to sell. So americanssmgt.com/for-sale is our website with all the properties we're selling. We own a lot of properties, but we're trying to sell some of our smaller ones, and we're gonna roll that money into some partnerships with students and things like this is what we're gonna do. Okay, so that is here. Now, if I open this up, you can see like these are the types of reports that you're going to get for, from StorageNerds. Like from StorageNerds, this is the report that we're getting. All right. So we can one of the reports here is the management summary, which I'm not sure if you can see because I open it up in a different window, but I think you should be able to see this. And then so you can see here that this is how much we made this year. This is for the month of January is what it is. And then year to date, obviously right here, and then versus last year. So we made $55,000 last year. I'm blind, so I can't see very well. But and then you could see that this is like occupancy. You want to train your brain to look at these reports. Like if you want to get into commercial real estate, you need to be looking at the management summaries, the general ledgers, the rent rolls, the occupancy. Really kind of train your brain to look at these numbers. And when you first start out, your brain's just like mush and trying to figure it out. But ultimately, you'll start figuring it out, And so you could see here's the revenue. Here's the leads that came in. And the net rental. So we had 3 move-ins this past month. I mean, that's really good, And another thing with storage is that it's really like slow and steady wins the race. You know what I'm saying? This is like people say, I get this leased up in 6 months. But the truth is it takes a while. It takes a year, 2 years just to stabilize properties and stuff. It really does. And then occupancies here, economic, so physical occupancy and then economic occupancy. So physical occupancy is like I have, 50 tenants. But of those 50 tenants, who's actually paying? Right? So that's economic occupancy. So you want to look at physical versus economic occupancy. Okay. And then you could see fees if we have any fees. We make a lot of money in fees. We charge a lot of fees. This is something that, if you decide to join Storage Nerds and come in, you will learn how to do things, how to make more money on your facilities and stuff. But okay, so what else is there? I don't know what else. Okay, so then you can see here management stuff. Here's all the receipts. This is what we got charged and stuff. So anyways, the point is look at these summaries. Look at these reports. So we have management summaries. We have occupancy reports, rent roll, right? Rent roll is like, over the course of the last year, how many tenants were they, and then what did they pay on a monthly basis and stuff. And then the unit mix, like you're going to need this unit mix in order to run deal analysis. I'm not going to get into how to run deal analysis. I'm just doing a case study. But ultimately, you want to be able to run deal analysis. If you don't know how to run deal analysis, I highly recommend that you join Storage Nerds and get access to my deal analyzer and my deal analyzer course. And you can join Storage Nerds. It's only $111 a month. All right. So that's month to month, so you could just come in, learn. And then if you don't want to stay, you don't have to or whatever. But, okay. So, and then what else could I go over? So anyways, the point is what you see here, all these different categories here. This is what you are going to need to learn and understand in order to make an offer on your property. And so I put everything together on the liquidation side because I want to sell this property. And so I just put it all together for anybody that's interested in taking a look and putting an offer on the property. And so what I'll do is I'll just share this folder with anybody that's interested. You can go to the americanssmgt.com/for sale. And you can scroll down here to, you can look at all the facilities that we have for sale. And then you can, right here, Blackshear, you would just ask for more info and we'll give you access to that folder. Okay, just so you know, that's available for you. Any of the deals that we have available, you could take a look at, okay? Okay, so I talked about funding, and I know I didn't talk about funding. So finding and funding. So how did I find this facility? What me and my team does is that we virtually drive for storage is what we do, right? So like, all these facilities that, let me just put this here. It's easier to look at. So all those facilities I pulled up, right? You would just call all those. Where did I have that at? I don't know where I had that at here. Maybe right here. Okay. So nearby. So I would just do storage. Okay. So on Google Drive, I would just do storage, in a city, whatever town it is. And then I just start calling these owners is what I do, especially in these little tiny towns. I mean, they all pick up the phone, and they'll just talk to you. And then you just call them. And then what we do too is we'll look at like, how many reviews they have, if they have a website, if it's bad reviews or good reviews. But even, like this one has no reviews. It's a climate control storage. So we just call them up, just call the phone number. It's right here. And then just say, hey, would you be interested in like getting an offer? Like, what's your story? And you just kind of build up, you just build up a list, and you just start talking to owners is what you do. And that is how we found this, is we called the owner. This one here, no reviews. So I'd say like, oh, let me just call him. What does this one look like? Yeah, here's Storage Safe. This is perfect. Just call them up and just say, hey, look, I'm looking for a facility in your area to buy. Would you be interested in getting an offer? Okay, that's kind of how we did it. And that's how we found Blackshear. And I used to live in Georgia. I live in Florida now, but I used to live in Georgia, in the Atlanta area, and I would just buy anywhere in Georgia. So that is why I have a bazillion, facilities here. Like, we have all these facilities. Every single one of these facilities here, I drove for storage and called up the owner, and like, you just put an offer in, is what I did. Okay. Every single one of these facilities. Okay. So now with the deal analyzer, with the fun part, let me go back to the live so you guys can see me. Okay, so the funding part is, so what I do is I always make like 4 offers. Okay, so if you get my deal analyzer, you could basically run 5 different offers at the same time. But I always do a cash offer. I do a bank financing offer. One of 4 of these. So either cash offer, bank financing offer, a private lending offer, and then like some creative deal structures, any sort of creative deal structures. And then I'll put together like a little offer letter. It's created right in our deal analyzer, but I'll put an offer letter together that's like, okay, I've looked at your deal, and these are kind of the offers that I'm thinking. Like, I can pay this for cash, or I can, if you want to seller finance, I could pay one of these things or something like this. And so what it does is it really kind of just, gets the wheels of the owner turning in their brain. It's like, I could just take a cash offer, which is going to be like, if you go to a bank and get a loan, it's going to be kind of like a cash offer, right? And they typically, like, you can't get the highest amount of money if you do that, because they have to have their terms, and they're being really conservative right now. Or if I sell it, if I owner finance it, then I could actually make this much money over time. So seller financing is like, it's a way for the owner to make money, and it's a way for you to make money. But the owners, they don't really know or understand this concept unless you kind of talk to them about it. And I'm going to tell you, storage facility owners are very open to seller financing. Of all of the niches, and I've like invested in almost every niche, of all of the niches, seller owners from storage are like the most open to like creative deal structures. Okay. So you have to be like, you have to like make that proposal, especially on these little tiny facilities, because so for instance, like I have a facility right now in that I'm selling. So of all the facilities, we have a couple under contract. Okay. And I have a facility right now where the owner, so what he needs is he needs help, buying the facility. And so he can come up with some money, but he can't come up with all of it. And he lives out of the country. So getting a loan is like a little bit harder for him. So essentially I just said, like, look, if you come up with some money and put a down payment on this and help me to pay off the mortgage that I have, like, I will seller finance the rest of it for you. And so then that way he could just buy the property. And so a lot of owners are open to doing stuff like that because, like, I'm going to be selling a lot of these properties, and I got to pay a lot of taxes on those. So ultimately, in my mind, I'm thinking, how can I really get it so I'm not paying so many taxes on all these properties that I'm trying to sell as well, right? So the way that you can do that is you can seller finance. And I have a student right now in StorageNerds where we found an owner. We talked to the owner, and the owner has 2 mortgages on this property, right? He mortgaged this property off, right? Now the property he has mortgages is $800,000 total. It was 2 like $400,000. I think maybe no, it was 600. It was a $600,000. So 2 $300,000 mortgages, and one of them is a bank loan, and the other one is a seller finance loan that he took a second out on. Okay, and that property is worth $1.5 million. All right, so it's double of what he owes, even more than double than what he owes. It's worth a lot of money. He's held on to this property for a long time, so it's worth a lot of money. And so, So like the student, what they worked out was that the student was going to pay off his mortgage, his first mortgage of $300,000. And then he was going to assume the second note of the seller finance deal. And then he was going to get a bank loan for the rest of the money. Okay, so that is a super creative deal, like a creative deal structure that you can do. And so he's coming up with money to pay off the first loan. He's going to assume the second loan, and then that, like, I think 800,000, I think that which is left, he's going to get a bank to finance that as well. Just as long as the bank is okay with the second, because he's going to have that second note. And I would say, there's a lot of banks that are open to doing that, but ultimately, like, that is a creative deal structure that, if you would go to a realtor, like, a realtor is not going to be able to help you do a deal like that. You have to be able to go to an owner. And then what he did is he met the owner several times, and they really kind of worked through this. And the owner was really he's in desperate need of some money. And so, like, he was willing to kind of structure deals and stuff like this. So my point is that you want to be able to learn how to do creative deal structures. You want to be able to learn how to talk to owners, and and then see what their end goal is. Why are they selling the property, and what is the goal that they want? They may want to just sell it and be done with it, or they may be open to doing some sort of a creative deal structure. And so your goal as somebody that's like getting into this industry, or maybe owns one or two properties, like, you're just like, okay, I want to build my portfolio out. I want to really get into this, but I need to be able to get all the information that I showed you in the folder, right? All that information is what you need in order to make a good decision on whether or not you want to move forward. You want to learn how to do you want to learn how to do commercial deal analysis, and also be able to come up with some creative deal structures based off you talking to the owner directly and you figuring out what the owner wants, and then putting offers in. And so, like, you have two things that you could do right now. You could build your list and do cold calling and talk to owners, or you can go look on Crexy and, like, put offers in on with brokers online. And either way, I mean, you're going to get a deal if you put a lot of offers in. But if you do my way and you cold call owners and talk to them, you just know that, your job cold calling owners and talking to them is not just putting in rando offers, because you're never going to get an offer that way. It's, you could do that on the Crexy side, just keep putting offers in, and eventually maybe something will stick because you have the realtor there to kind of help you. But if you do cold calling offers, right, then you know that your job is to really understand the story and the goals of the owner and put an offer in based on that. And it may be a cash offer, it may be bank financing offer, but it could also be some creative deal structures because of what they're telling you. And so ultimately, all of my Miss Lillian self-storage deals that I have, all of those are all creative deal structures. They're all, I would raise money. I would find somebody to lend me the money to buy it, and I would get some sort of a creative deal structure. And especially in these, like, tertiary markets, these kind of smaller markets, these sellers are really open to doing stuff like that. Okay. And I'm open to doing that. And, and I think that's kind of the key, especially right now, in a downturn in the market, people are really open to trying to figure out how to make money. Cause, like, just think about it. If I sold this property and I made a couple $100,000 on it, like, what am I going to do without money? Am I going to put it into the stock market? No, I ain't going to do that. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to do that. So, like, I try to figure out ways for me to be creative so I can just keep getting that money back on a monthly basis, and then, or I get a lump sum back, and I can seller finance some of it. And then I can also use that money to partner in other deals and things like that. That's kind of how I think. And for the most part, talking to other owners, that's how they're thinking as well. Okay. That's really how they're thinking. So do you want to take advantage of that? Is what I'm saying. And especially in the downturn, you want to take advantage of that. So from this session here, I went over, and you'll be able to watch the replay if you want to watch it later, okay? But from this session, I went over my Blackshear deal, which my husband and I bought as a mismanaged facility. We found an owner that was willing to work with us. I think we got a creative deal structure for it, and then we stabilized the property. We painted it. We got the occupancy up. We added some parking. We, try to really work on stabilization, which takes about maybe a year to 2 years to do that, right? And you want to have like 2 years of good tax returns so that you can sell it to somebody with a little bit of meat on the bone, right? So there's still a lot of opportunity for Blackshear, but we've kind of gotten it to where it's like stabilized. And then they'll be able to buy it and the next person buy it and then like maybe add some buildings or like, increase the occupancy, whatever they want to do. And so, and then on the running part, you want to be able to, manage the property as lean as possible because, this is a business, not just a real estate. It's not just a piece of property, right? It's a business. So your job is to increase your income and decrease your expenses, right? And then sell it, and then roll that money into like a new deal, whatever you want to do, a bigger deal. Right. So these little tiny properties, there is nothing wrong with buying these. And you hear in the stores, you still in the storage world, like, oh, you need to go out and buy like 30,000 square feet or 50,000 square feet. But the truth is like, if you're going to make a couple $100,000 on a deal in like 3 years or 5 years and really not spend that much money on it, like, why would you not want to do that? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And so that is why a lot of really small deals are going. Small deals are hot right now, and what it was like 2015 to 2020 when I got in, it was the best time to get in, right? Because like nobody was thinking about storage. And then, you would have like, you'd have owners that were just really open to doing creative deal structures and stuff. And then obviously when COVID hit from 2020 to 2024, everybody got into storage and then prices went up, interest rates were low, people were just going crazy. A lot of people bought storage that they realize that it's actually a lot of work, to like manage it and to be, to actually do online marketing like I showed you and to like actually really do the work. And so those people right now, they're all wanting to sell. A lot of people are wanting to sell. So you have to reach out to them and talk to them and get them to, give you all this information that you see in my folder, which you're more than welcome to ask for access to that I showed you. And then you can kind of educate yourself on what you need to ask the owners so that you can take that information and run deal analysis on it. If you need help with running deal analysis, if you need help with like doing anything like this, just join Storage Nerds. It's a monthly membership. It's like around $100 a month. Okay. And you get access to the portal. You get access to my deal analyzer courses, everything. And this isn't really like a pitch for Storage Nerds, but it's there for anybody willing to join. But also I'm really trying to sell my facilities so that I can take that money and then I can roll those into like bigger deals or with my students and stuff. Because my goal really ultimately is to partner with my students and to really help them succeed. So that is why I'm doing these case studies. So I have case studies set up over the course. You see under my live, you'll see those. I'm going to do one facility, 30 minutes. I'm going to do those like every, couple of days or so until I finish all my facilities. And then you guys can just see how I'm doing this. Okay. All right. So that is it for today. And then if you don't have any questions when this posts out, you could just put your questions underneath and I will answer those questions for you as well too. Okay. So get out there, make offers, and I will see you at the next session. Okay. Take care.